Okay, so now we're going to move on to starting to build the frame. From this point on, the HD and the LT versions of the helicopter are the same frame, and even if you get the carbon fiber version, everything's the same. It's just the material for the side frames is different, and the radio trays and stuff like that. So the first part that we're going to do is put together the skeletal system, and this is something that's pretty unique to these helicopters. I've never seen this on any type of helicopter before, so let's go ahead and we'll get those parts out and take a look at them and go from there. Okay, here's the parts for the first part of the frame build. This is the basically the bottom plate. This is where the motor mounts onto. And you've got two support arms. It's going to go on here. An upper bearing block, the elevator crank, side support arm that holds this rear electronics tray, and this is the rear electronics tray. And there's also a bag with the screws needed to put all this together. And it looks like there's 4 screws in there for mounting the motor. So we're not going to do that right now, so make sure you don't lose those. Get them put aside somewhere so we don't lose them. So go ahead and put this stuff together and we'll come back and take a look at it. Alright, this is the completed page 16 of the frame build. Side frame members coming up. This is building the skeletal system that the side frames and everything are going to mount onto. And it's, like I said, it's something new that I've never seen this before, so it makes for a pretty nice stout frame. I didn't tighten everything down all the way yet. I still got it kind of loose on there because when we want to mount the side frames up and everything, we want to be able to move those around to get our screw holes lined up. And this is the rear electronics tray with the side members screwed onto it. The bell crank or the elevator crank was already assembled. One thing you're going to want to do is the pin that goes through here, back it out and put some CA in there to keep it from coming out, or what I like to do is I'll rough this up here with some sandpaper and then put a little like JB Weld cap on there or something like that, or even some epoxy or something, just to keep that pin from sliding in and out. Just a little peace of mind safety feature, so don't want that coming loose on you in midair. So alright, we'll move on to page 17 now. Okay, so now we're moving on to page 17 of the frame build, and we'll need the parts we assembled on the last step. That's the skeletal system, the rear tray, and the bell crank. And in this step you got the one side frame, the upper bearing block, the screws, and this is where another addendum is going to be added. They added an additional radial bearing in this upper bearing block to help with the lateral strength for lateral movements in the main shaft and whatnot. So it just adds some more strength up there. Just read the addendum when you put this in there. Put a little bit of red Loctite on the edges to help seat that bearing in there, and that's it. So I'll go ahead and put this together and we'll take a look at it when we're done. Alright, now here we have the completed page 17 now. Something I should have noted that when we were putting this on, that when you're looking at the back of the helicopter, this is the left-hand side frame. Another thing to take note of is when you're putting the elevator bell crank in, that the elevator servo is on this side of the helicopter, so make sure that you have the point that the bell crank matches up to sitting over here. We've got the addendum bearing, the additional bearing on the top main block installed. Another thing I should have noted too is when you install these upper frames, there's a chamfer cut, bevel cut here. This needs to point in towards the motor. If you don't do that, you might have some problems getting a good gear mesh when you use the 6.0 gear ratio. Then we got our electronics tray. It just snaps in here. The frame member support goes towards the back. That's where the tail boom supports are going to screw into, and that's about it. So now we're going to move on to the next page, page 18, and we'll be installing the tank.